Hey homies, and welcome to Loser Narrates. This is going to be a side project that I'm going to be working on all of 2022, and it's really just the start of me expanding my horizons with my content creation, because primarily I've done gaming, and I feel like it's just getting a bit tedious, and so I want to try out other things. And I think this would be a fun thing to do outside of what I've been doing already. So without further ado, enjoy these stories. My name is Michael, and I'm a 14-year-old boy who lives with my aunt in the countryside. Now here we have no neighbors. The closest place to my house is about 8 miles away. I always loved living out here because I've always liked the seclusion, and the road we live by is always dead at night, which makes for a good sleep. Now my aunt is always working the night shift, so this means I would be home alone pretty much every night. Long story short, I came home from school on a relatively crappy day. Thunderstorms and rain all day and all night, and I spent my day playing video games and Snapchatting my friends. At about 9 o'clock, my aunt came upstairs and told me she was heading off to her job. I was always fine with this because I like being home alone. I had full range of the house and could play loud music all I wanted. Who wouldn't love it? At about 11 o'clock, I had started feeling tired and laid down to watch some YouTube and go to sleep. And soon enough, I did. I woke up at some odd hour of the night to somebody knocking on the door. I sat up and muttered, "What the hell?" I thought my aunt had got home from the night shift and reluctantly went to enter the door and out of habit, checked the window beside the door to make sure it was her. But there was nobody there. I thought to myself, probably some stupid kids knocking on my door and running away. And I dismissed it at that and went back into my room. I checked my phone to realize it was 3 a.m. and the thought of teenagers ding-dong ditching my home was suddenly out of the question given that it was a Wednesday and I basically lived in the middle of nowhere. Just as I was thinking, I heard a bang come from the basement. I jumped and tried to make up an excuse like a noise of the thunderstorm to calm me down. We always kept our basement door locked anyways out of my aunt's paranoia and fear of somebody breaking in. That's when I heard footsteps slowly creaking up the old wooden stairs in the basement. Frozen with fear, I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. The operator told me to go to an upstairs room in the house and grab a weapon to defend myself, but there was no way I was going to grab a knife from the kitchen, especially when I heard the door being slammed and quickly realized that someone was trying to bust it down. I jumped from my bed and closed my door quietly and hid in my closet like the 911 operator had told me to do. This was easily the scariest moment of my life, but suddenly the banging stopped. But what comes next will haunt me for my whole life. Whoever it was screamed at the top of their lungs, but it wasn't a normal scream. It was an insane and disgruntled scream. And then I heard the basement door collapse. Now he was full out screaming as he sprinted up the stairs. He went through all the rooms down the upstairs hallway, still screaming, until he reached mine. My door, unfortunately, didn't have a lock on it, and when I heard him open my door, I was paralyzed with fear. I could see him through the shades of my closet. He was still screaming, looking all over my room, even under my bed. But then after trying to hold my breath for too long, I let out a puff of air. He perked up, looked straight in my closet, and slowly walked towards it, no longer screaming. I couldn't even breathe at that moment, especially when he just stopped right in front of my closet door. I could see him through the closet. He had the biggest smile I'd ever seen. As soon as he slowly reached for the closet doorknob, there was a loud bang at the door and somebody yelling, "Police!" The man quickly ran and tried to run out my window but failed. As soon as I saw the police tackle him, I instantly ran out of the closet and outside, now realizing that was a stupid move on my part. After a couple minutes, I saw the police bring the man out in cuffs, but on the way to the car, he stared at me with the biggest smile and the craziest eyes I had ever seen. Watching him ride away with the police was the greatest moment of my life, but what still haunts me today is the face he made as he was standing in front of my closet door, ready to do something horrible. To put it frankly, me and my friends are assholes. We love to ding-dong ditch, egg houses, smash mailboxes, and all the sorts. I was the only one in my friend group who had a car, a black Jeep to be specific. So my friend group had the great idea to sneak out and go to other neighborhoods and TP houses. I was the one driving. My friend group consisted of Alex, Jack, and myself. We all lived in the same neighborhood, and I picked them both up that Friday night at midnight. We had our plan. We would drive about 20 miles out and TP neighborhoods that were well out of our jurisdiction. Even if someone saw us doing it, they wouldn't know who we were. Around 12:30 that night, we pulled into a big neighborhood. There were nice cars in the driveways and in-ground pools in the backyard. It was a rich neighborhood, to say the least, and we thought it would be the perfect hit. Jack went first. I pulled up to a house with my headlights off so we wouldn't wake anyone up. Jack got out of the front seat, 5 rolls of toilet paper in hand, and went to town. By the time he was finished, all the trees, bushes, lawn, everything was covered in toilet paper. Jack got back into the car and we erupted in laughter, admiring the masterpiece. Alex was next. We drove a couple of blocks up and found a good house for him. There was a pool in the backyard, and Alex said instead of TPing the house, he was going to unload the toilet paper in the pool to clog the filter system. We said what a great idea it was and watched him get out of the Jeep and head to the backyard pool. Jack and I sat in the car, debating which house we should hit next, when we heard Alex screaming. "Go, go, go," he said, and jumped into the back seat. I waited until the door was closed, and then peeled off, but not before I saw in my rearview mirror a man getting into a car. "He almost caught me," Alex explained, fear in his eyes. "Oh shit," he said, turning around. "He's following us, man. Get the fuck out of here." Behind me, high beams blared into our car. I was almost out of the neighborhood, but this guy was literally behind me. I peeled off into the night down a long road. The guy did the same thing, following very closely. My heart was racing. The steering wheel was wet with my sweat. Jack, who was in my front seat, was sitting low, as not to be seen. "I think we're losing him," Alex said, looking out the back window. He was right. The following headlights seemed to be shrinking in the distance. My relief was short-lived. The car came roaring back and slammed into my trunk. I almost lost control and crashed into the woods. I regained control, Alex and Jack both begging me to lose this maniac. Yeah, as I didn't already know that. And that's when I saw the driver in my rearview mirror holding something out of the window. My heart stopped when I realized what it was. "Guys, get down," I shouted. The air was filled with the unmistakable sound of a gun firing off. It went off 3 or 4 times. He was actually shooting at us. I had to think quickly. Just up ahead was a massive field. I yelled to hold on and turned into it. It was bumpy, but my Jeep could take it. In my rearview mirror, I watched as the car shooting us stopped by the edge of the field. Their cars simply couldn't handle the terrain. A few minutes later, I pulled back out onto some back road and then drove to the nearest gas station. We all shared a collective sigh when we realized it was over and we were okay. Never again did we ever attempt to do anything like that again. All mischief was put to a halt that night. Like I said, we were assholes, but sometimes it takes vandalizing property and then being chased and shot at by the owner to rethink your ways. Lesson learned. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you made it this far into the video, I would really appreciate you maybe liking the video or subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. If you'd like to leave your own submissions for stories, I have my email linked in my description of this video. And if you'd like to, submit stories or other things, please feel free to share with me. I love hearing from you guys. It makes this so much more worth it. And yeah, maybe I'll use them into a video one day. And, of course, crediting the authors, because you guys are the true masterminds behind all of this. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week.